Hi guys, Mike Dixon from Stones Bushcraft here, out today to do a video on setting up hammocks. Now I've just done one on tarps and I've been asked since my last video, the 2-minute setup, asked a lot of questions about this. Us as a whole in Europe are so far behind with hammock hanging gear or suspension gear, or how to set up that hammock. Shug Emery has done fantastic 10-part series. Go to it now and check it out, and then come back and watch this video, and you'll kind of get the gist of where I'm going with this. But this is for my forum members, Cabudo 4, this is for you mate, and many others of you that had PM'd me straight afterwards of me putting that up. Also the response video, the quickest setup. Not quite the quickest, but you know, if you just want to sit around in it, then yeah, fine. I mean, we're setting this up for a weekend, a week's camping. You need to be comfortable in it, so let's show you that now. Right guys, so first priority is when looking to set up your hammock. When you've found what looks to be a nice looking patch of land, look up. Are there any hanging branches? Are there any widowmakers? Some trees do naturally shed their branches, like the American beech that we have in our woodland. Be aware of this. Good tree identification is ideal. Next, make sure your tree straps can fit through with enough length to come in to tie on. And that is very important. Also, make sure you've got a good distance between the trees. I know that my hammock is 12 foot long, and I need about an 18-foot wide space to fit my hammock and my tree straps and my whoopee slings. It can be tightened up, but that is an ideal distance to look at. So let's look at setting it up. Right guys, so when we first talk about setting up our hammocks, the ideal thing, if we're going to be staying for a longer length of time, is to use a nice sturdy strap, sewn, either factory sewn. You can buy these. These are what we call tree huggers. These just have 2 holes, one in each end, that go round the tree and slip through each other, and then pulls tight, and we tie onto this bit. And what this does is it stops damage to the tree. So we stick it round the tree, thread one through each other, and we pull it tight. What you can see now is a wider space that's been putting pressure on the tree, rather than a thin space which is cutting into the bark. And we can put this over branches like this and it will not damage them. And that's the whole idea of the tree hugger. And we put these on both sides. Right guys, so we got our tree huggers set up on both trees. Now we're going to set the rest up. Now, my bag, when you open the top, has 2 carabiners in it. One, pull out, is the base, which is the end of my hammock. Now decide which end you want your head. I'm going to have it at that end. And all I do is clip the carabiner straight onto the tree hugger. Let's take a look at that now. Right guys, so we're looking at carabiner with whoopee sling attached. Open, straight into the tree hugger. Now I've got my bag attached by a whoopee sling, which I can just do up a little bit. Now I can open it, grab the next one out, which will then pull out my hammock. Right, so the whoopee sling, just grab where it goes in, just pull it. It will hold on itself, and that's it set up. I'll show you that now. Right, so what you're looking at, guys, is the end bag with the ridge line, which is my sag line, connected via a carabiner. Ignore the one hanging, let's just concentrate on the carabiner and the ridge line. Now, this basically can be taken off so that it's out of my way when I'm sitting in it. But for sleeping, it's clipped on. And that's just clipped on via you just see I have a ring with a lark's footed whoopee sling on. That's just tied into a loop. Here I have a loop going through twice and tied with a double fisherman's knot. This is the strongest knot I know to secure two cords together of same thickness. Then it is lark's footed on, so you push the loop up round the whole ring and pull it tight, and then you can put the loop through here and thread the rest through it and pull it tight. It's a lark's foot, very easy to tie. Now, because I've got a double loop, I can grab two of the rings and I can tie onto this. Now, you don't have to have it so it can come off. You can have it tied on, but I use these loops to put my carabiner on. That sets my sag line. That's how I like sleeping in my hammock. So let's take a look at that. I don't like mine too sagged because I actually sleep in mine straight. I've got plenty of hammock there to actually lie quite flat, and I actually like my lower legs to be raised a little. It's good for circulation. Now, some people you'll find like it to be banana form. Now, let's just show you that. Right, guys, as you can see, I've set it up more banana-like. This is just a shortened ridge line. I loosened up the whoopies. That's the slings that go from the hammock to the tree huggers. I've loosened them up and I've tightened up. You see, I've just taken off my gear so I can get in and show you. Sorry about that. This is in manual mode, so you have to excuse my camera work, it's not great. I've just tightened that up and formed a quick loop so it can be undone. But when you sleep diagonally, this works very well. Let's just show you that. Now, as you can see there, guys, you need to have your tree huggers up at quite a steep angle to allow the natural sag to set in. And as you saw when I was laying diagonal, I was laying flat. That's great for people that like to do that. For me, I like to lay in the middle of my hammock with a slight banana form in my body. This is a great way to start out to find your sweet spot. Right guys, so the other question I had was, is this a two-way bag? It's actually not. I slit the end and I stuck it over and sewn up that little hole. So now, if you expose where I've got the ridgeline tied, it's just a thick double figure of 8 on a bight, threaded through the same 2 loops as my other end, with my under blanket mod hanging loop, and I just pull over the end, and I can actually store stuff in here. Pull it up and it'll stay in it. Normally stuff sacks and stuff like that. Keeps everything in one place. So that's my ridgeline, and I lay in it just like this. Right guys, this is me laying in it. Okay, you can lay offset to be straight, but I like to keep mine in the middle because I've got so much hammock space in my hammock, which is just great. So your setup's complete, or is it? Laying in your hammock in summer, you still need some form of insulation under you, whether in form of a mat, an under blanket, or something like that. You don't need a full under blanket in summer, maybe 3/4 or a half. What I suggest is maybe use a thin mat to start with, not an inflatable kind. Very annoying when you're in there. Even something natural like sheepskins are very good in the summer, as they wick away all sweat and let it perspire from the back and come out at the bottom of your hammock. But you will need some form of insulation under you. There's always going to be a form of a breeze or something to take the heat away from you. It will never stay around your body unless it's really hot. And then it's up to you, you can take it away. That's why I use an under blanket. I can then pull it from underneath me and leave it to the side if I need to. But I always have a mat under my feet. It's just something that I use, and it doesn't ever really get that hot. Right guys, you'll come across a time when you want to stay out in the summer. Inevitably, it is the best time of year for everyone to go out, and it is the time of year that everyone does get out. What this does bring though is a few different good and bad points. First bad point is biting insects. Not a good thing in most countries. In this country they don't bring any diseases as such, depending on what type of insect it is. Some can be brought over from overseas, and that can happen anywhere in the world. You need a mosquito net. Now, to sleep comfortably, the good part is that you get a good mosquito net that's treated with mosquito repellent, not DEET. DEET is a very smelly substance that when it gets on your clothing can actually bleach the colours out. That's why I don't use DEET repellent. So let's take a look at my mosquito net. Right guys, you've all seen this one before. This is the BCB Fox mosquito net. I've got rid of all the rest of the BCB Fox gear. This is probably one of my favourite items of that. The rest were given away. So, good points on this. It has tie points on here. It has high fixing points either end and one in the middle. It also has points when you're sleeping on the floor. You can set this up, which is ideal. It has straps for underneath you, and it's elasticated, so it does have a snug fit. And you also have on each end some cord and it's actually bungee to pull the sides together, so when it does go around you it fits snug. I've actually got these mounted, a short bit of bungee cord, so there's some play, carabiner on here and a little quick clip there. These are mounted on whoopee slings as well, either end connected to the same carabiner. Let's show you how this thing works. So we tighten up the end bungees and we unclip the clip, just to keep this out of my way while I'm getting in. You can just clip these above. Let's get in. Got to allow for the natural sag to happen. And that's it set up. Just having a wee bit of breakfast from the hammock whilst I'm doing these video series. See, I've got my little pot cosy. I actually didn't bring my pour and store bags this time, just eating straight out of my pot. Pot cosy idea is such a good idea. Just to show you why. The food was put in here 10 minutes ago, and boiling hot water is actually a porridge oat or Quaker oats, the fruit one. You just stir all the water in, enough, probably about 2 centimetres above the oats, stir it in, and it just does it perfect. Whack the lid on, this lid on, put this over the top of it so it covers it right the way down, and leave it for 10 minutes. And it keeps it hot, it keeps a hot drink hot for nearly an hour, and that's saying something, and that's in the winter. This is good to eat half hour after I've done it. It's actually a bit too hot. And I didn't actually bring my Cusca out today. I was going to have a quick brew in this first before I'd done my breakfast, but done my breakfast first, so luckily I keep this in the top of my bag. Same with my spork that is attached to this cup. For some unknown reason, I haven't got my spork in with my cook kit. Always why I make sure I've got double spare in my bag at the top, so where all my spare kit goes. That way, if you put it in the top, you don't tend to bring too much. I've only got the necessities with spares. Make sure you've got plenty of bog roll, toilet roll, or any kind of sanitary paper, and then make sure you've got a hand sanitizer or some form of washing your hands. Very important hygiene out in the woods. There are ways to do it primitively, but it's better to have something you don't soap up your hands. So, I'm going to eat my breakfast and I'll catch you soon.